Al pie del Ávila majestuoso, a 920 metros sobre el nivel del mar, en un valle de verde geografía que se abre de este a oeste, surge Caracas, la capital de Venezuela.
And now, our feature presentation.
You are watching a master at work.
Go get some!
Hey, how's it going? My name is Rafael Chacinas, no es el Capitán Rafucho. Sorry about that because I was trying to figure it out, the transmission on ads and then in Instagram and then in YouTube. But after all these technical issues, right now, we're coming in peace. Yep. And I had to repeat it all over again, but there will be no interruptions coming up there. But all right, so ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Straight Outta Nation, because right now, we're going to talk about very seriously about Raiders versus Chargers, a little bit of college football, and Pete Carroll. Because this show is not only for the Raider Nation, but also we can talk about NFL, NBA, college football, college basketball, everything. Because the culture is an impact about what's going to happen in football, in basketball. Yep. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, I'm feeling in this Wednesday, which I believe that is going to be really good right now. It's going to be half of the week. Half of the week, because right now it feels like, man, we're just getting really pumped it up, huh? We're just getting really pumped it up. All right, so make sure to subscribe to Capitán Rafucho on YouTube. Also, you can follow me at different social media. It's as known as Twitter at Capitán Rafucho, on Instagram, Kick, and TikTok at Capitán Rafucho 93. And if you want to support and help the stream, you can make a donation by Cash App, PayPal, or Venmo. All financial help is welcome. Now, enough of this for the last time because it seems that between Las Vegas Raiders versus Los Angeles Chargers, they got some two bad news. The first one is we just lost it. And the second one, we just got eliminated. Yep. Eliminated for the playoff competition. Aww. Yeah, I know it's very sad, but it is what it is. It is what it is right now. But right now, it seems that we get involved with a lot we're talking about between Las Vegas Raiders versus Los Angeles Chargers. Because it seems that Pete Carroll wasn't happy. Yep. Pete Carroll is not the answer. Because you know what? I don't think the people how screwed that we are. Because there's no word that Pete can fire after one season and after one terrific performance after Dallas Cowboys, Dallas Kansas City Chiefs, Los Angeles Chargers, everything. Because any talented and demon coach is looking at the job as was. And Pete Carroll is not going to be the answer. Not. Because I know the multiple things in multiple years to fit. If they fire Pete, the Hall of Fame coach, how long is it going to get? So we can fire Pete. So it's going to be her ability to attract the talented coach, even after young the man coach. So this is going to say it, huh? Because at this point, there's been a definitive number of jobs in the NFL. Every job is demand, no matter how it's going to be really demand. But at the same time, it's arguably the young line more than it's Gino. When Genti does really good, it's the line's fault. When Gino is kind of expected to him to win the Super Bowl, yeah, the Super Bowl, which I know is going to really happen. Or arguably, the young line is more than Gino. When Genti doesn't really do good, it's the line's fault. Same with Gino, never expected to win the Super Bowl, but this is Gino not being Gino. Give it the guy potential in the middle of the pack. No quarterback is winning behind this line, not even Wick or Jackson, because Gino is not that good. It's not that good. I can tell you about this right now. And it seems like all this issue is coming off of the fault. Because that was more the chemistry optimistic category, because we were forced to move on and bet Harris quickly. So now they got to chim chump again. But the issue with the job about for the coaching is how did they get fired within 2 years if they don't produce immediately? Those are good coaches. Whether they get one to believe it or not, it's rare to happen, especially if you want to sustain success. They have it over a decade of terrible drafts, which why we don't have a lot of depth. That a lot of top players last year were not even playing for the current teams. Not saying that Pete was the guy, but unless a top guarantee offensive head coach, I feel like we're helping into drafting Mendoza or maybe a quarterback, maybe another one, using the rest of the draft focus to focus. Yep, it's going to be really happen. That could really happen right now because I feel like, man, it's going to be the fault or it's going to be that. But to be fair enough, how curious we got to do about it. And we never see like an organization so misaligned with this one. No one hired the people to work for them, but it's supposed to the boss didn't hire them. Everything completely disconnected. Tom Brady made a worse situation worse. People will say, oh, it's only the first year. But if you can do like the best of things correctly during 5 years, in a row, it's not the fits. Mark Davis is going to be a man child with zero leadership or organization skills. They expect this shit show to continue no matter who they are. It's like they're going to move on, but I don't know. It seems like they still got a lot of things that had to do because, it really bugs me a lot because I understand why they're not going to believe this. Because I understand for the situation about Pete Carroll, Geno Smith, everything, because it seems like they have no miracle. They had no fix it all because that doesn't seem like anything more. And right now, we're feeling like the worst team ever in the whole league during for the season. We should have just committed to draft a quarterback, but how are we going to do about it? How are we going to do it about it? Because everyone is thinks they're going to pass on quarterback. We're going to wise it up. And right now, I just finally got the problem about not only for the online, but of course for the quarterback. Because check this out. Our biggest problem, the biggest problem that we have for drafting since 2014, you might think is going to be really solid, but 6 of those front rounders, 713 of those guys who are currently on the team, and not to mention that we have five first rounders in 2 years, and 4 or 5 were boss that are only good between for the 5 years. Drafting could be the key, but the online has a smaller hit rate at the quarterback. And we see for another teams, if we don't have it to pass it off, it's gonna be like a no-brainer. But between for the online, between for the quarterback situation, it's not gonna prove it all. And we just hit rock bottom. Rock bottom. And everyone is thinking about Chip Kelly was a problem, Pete Carroll was a problem, Geno doesn't. But look, between for the decide for the game against the Los Angeles Chargers, which is a completely disaster, Geno literally just stand and let the pocket collapse on him until he runs into a defender. Yes, the online was doing no favors, but he should at least attempt to stand the play there and there. And the funny thing is, there barely a concert regularly last season by some Raider fans with the key of saying the team screwed up by bringing Geno because he stretched. Many fans keep claiming that Geno knows how to scramble, he knows how to feed, to stand the plays, he just keeps to Burr one of the move. I mean, really? Does it really happen a lot? But it feels like, man, I cannot believe that it just really happened at this point. Because, sure, there was a problem about firing the mid-season, but it doesn't magically replace a dog shit offensive framework, and that will be like a sore spot for the rest of the year. But we have still issues with the offensive line. Quarterback, defensive backs, defensive linemen, not Crosby, linebackers, coaching, maybe even kicker. This might be the single worst team that we ever fielded. Literally nothing works. The offense is dog shit that is impossible truly to believe that play calling can be a set. And Genty can't get to the line of scrimmage. But the play calling, that was pretty much bad. And between for it wasn't created because all the defensives. Everyone is coaching that the attitude has been that the players need to adjust to the offense, not the other way around. And I was just like, man, how can we do it about this right now? How? Just how? Because everybody was coaching about the attitude, but people say they need to run ball more with Genty. Kind of. But with the same result, and they can do shit with garbage players. Also, Garbage plays in the online that simply misprotected the calling gent shit, but it always happened a lot. It always happened. But it truly believes that we need to do something, anything better between for the situation. And I know that it's not gonna really work it, but the offense will look better. For me, I don't really think so. The play calling, sure, there was improvement, but between Brock Bowers and Jack Beach had good games. Gino still sucks, and whatever the defense had the problems, it was nice to see like the pistol formation less and less wide receiver screen. Whatever chance that it happens this season, we need like an overall goal, and that's really happens for a while. For a while, instead of 4 or 5 missions leading to inter directions, hope we can figure it out before we lose Max Crosby or Brock Bowers, which one of them is not going to leave. And the other one, I don't think is going to leave it right now. Not pretty sure. Not pretty sure enough. But between for this part, I don't really think that we just have less talent. The play calling look better, but we cannot block. It starts with a chain reaction. It was so much refreshing seeing the quarterback on the center. Play action will look a little bit better with the quarterback hands off the center. But I know the online is still suck, but it still takes some time to take it out. But we will never going to get there without the quarterback going on the center. It is not. And I'm just really fine with the pistol formation. The spread offense in college, which it makes sense. I mean, the harsh marks are really different, and that's why the Chip Kelly is in there because the NFL it was different. The first 3 or 4 initially successful in the NFL defense coming out quickly. Combined with a lack of talent center and the online's enduring lack of the dev or CP for the disaster, and their offense of the rest of the season will be pretty much vanilla and basic, but it will be like an improvement. And the offense look more sane than all year. But if we see like the final score and then the game, offensive line is still trash and Gino needs to go. But the problems go way far beyond far. If we need to score more touchdowns today and they have the weeks against one of the best defenders and the better defense of the league. But they're not paying attention. Why does anyone? That's the only problem. There's so many problems and nothing gets solved with sending one coach away. Chip, Gino, Sterling Allman, who should not be on the NFL, defenders, attack, Olger, Culver. There are so many problems. And some people loves to blame persons. And it's just able to seem the possible everything sucks. But keep it under the mind right now. Just keep it under the mind. Because we're the body with talent. We're only 2 service alignment or out. And the only offensive weapons that we have are Genty and Bowers. None of the wide receivers who started with pretty much with another team in the NFL. The rest are completely devoid of talent, and no quarterback and coach can really fix that. Never. You mean never that's going to really happen. But it really happens. It really happens. Maybe we can throw a little of this right now, but they're going to really pass at the time. And I still watch that part of the issue that we absolutely have some talented players. The coaching carousel and Shim Sim ups years and doesn't allow for the players in the best position, probably digging in for the hole deeper. And that's what it really looks like. I mean, they're going to happen a lot, but yeah. I think that it should really know, but it's kind of like weird. But if we had to do like really something that we had to do like really something for the online. And we have 3 starters that can start any roster. The rest of those bums are practice squad guys. We let our most entire defensive starters walk into free agency last season, and we brought out like a 70-year-old watch coach. If you last watched last year, then Seattle, they were just brought it. And they just brought a jab bust quarterback who was way out of the league. And we had no idea how to go for the playoffs. It's just like, it came out really crazy. Crazy, I'm telling you. Crazy. But it's just like, man, how are we going to get this? I'm not pretty sure that it's going to happen. Not pretty sure. All right. So right now for the next topic, do you see a Buffalo like Pete Carroll going off for this one? I don't know, because he's under the hot seat. Because how this is going to really happen? Because he was never going to be like the long-term answer. He's not. Because like I said it over for the last live streams, you don't need to throw games so your offensive linemen don't know how to block. They just suck. If there's no conspiracy, there was too many cooks in the kitchen and shit hires. And it was annoying why they still brought it out. He was supposed to point the team in the right direction and then pass the torch. That was obviously in the pan what is brought in for the preseason. And P was out of the charge 2 years when the Seattle Seahawks fired him. Firing him is absolutely moronic. All they did do is because anything could happen. Everybody thought it was going to be here for 3 years, but it's been so dysfunctional. It starts at the top, and they need to hold accountable. And I think that he's out of the depth at this point. His last few years in Seattle were better than a mess. Bad coaching, hiring, bad defense, shitty online, not a great culture when raw situation asking to be higher. And the game passed by. Just look at his son for the online coach and the subsequent Dustin Fire, we celebrated trenches. I mean, it was a dumbass hire to be the game for the aggressor at the big time. He fires people who were doing bad somehow with the worst unit to keep the coach that would have happened for this kid. I mean, what would happen Buffalo this time, which is not very good. Not very good enough. And this seemed like there's no reason had to do like to bring this dude back. And I was like, man, how are we going to do about it? No one's going to return for the one season, but some people that say we cannot fire the coach every year and expect to do anything better. They need players and get teams back on the track. He's at least been winning environments in the past and know his involvement, but he's not clearly at the future. He's refusing to play regular young players. Yep. There's no strategy coming over there, but not sure the strategy, but firing coaches every 5 years hasn't worked. If they people need to keep him, give it a lead to time to rebuild, demonstrate their future candidates. But between for the 2 and 10, yeah, 2 and 10, which is basically like the worst. Yep, personally the worst. But here's the thing. You seem to actually the team regrets at almost every aspect of the game as opposed to the last few years. There was really bad coach hire in OC and Chip Kelly. The decision was here around this one. And the online was the worst in the league, and the one was decent wide receiver. We tried him away, and that team wasn't going to the playoff contender. But even with low expectations, they have it underachieved the entire season. But I think that losing 5 games, more than 15 points, and every single part of it is looks horrendous. I mean, the absolute falls in the head coach. And the truth is, it doesn't really happen a lot. It doesn't. It doesn't because it seems like they have the same bullshit over and over and over again, and there's no way to get it to really escape a lot. Nowhere. I mean, they just got nowhere to figure it out, which is really bad. Yep. It was just like really, but really bad that it doesn't seem like really a lot. Yep. It feels like, man, how are we gonna do between for this right now? How are we gonna do? How exactly we gonna do? It seems like they need to stop churning and burning coaches. Because of fair, then after 1, 2 years is why we keep it in position. That we have a decade of terrible drafting that caused the roster to be prepared bare. And we had to some consciously then that thing that it means keep hitting and let's see what happens. But if they have the hottest coach in the market, they have an option to choose the team that have the most pieces and keep it everything for the building. But I don't think it's gonna really happen for long. We just don't get it. We just don't get it to get involved a lot. All right? Just stop it. Just stop it a lot. Because let's pretend that we drafted a top quarterback. But the Raiders have a reputation for firing people after one season, then shows an instantly organization. They will pick another spot. If they can fire Pete now, we're still picking on the bottom. The top candidates will use that as a leverage and go next everything else. It might show he's willing to pay. But right now, we don't have the pieces or the reputation that we can at least dispel it enough the rest of the season. And no head coach has won Super Bowl for 2 years. Even Picaro at the best, but this is a bad back to service at the franchise. All the professionalism was supposed to bring out the turn into the legend of duration. But it showed off as a favoritism dysfunction to go outside. Maybe it's not kind of true, but it's just like, man, it just became something worse. Really, but really, really something worse. But it seems pretty true. So we're good with the hoping over stability, such a low ceiling that we need to do like historically. But I don't see the season that not when great young coaches turned into tragedy of franchise at 2 seasons. We're in a possible situation. The fans want, they need to draft the fat dudes, making a trade or two, but suddenly winning games and in the playoffs, what doesn't happen to every team? It happens to one. If it doesn't happen, it won't. We also complain that no matter what direction we go, because we can actually change things up when the soul sucks that we like constantly. We keep it in dues when everything improving, but we need to shake things up. We're impossible to get it. The only medicine is winning, and we don't want to wait for it. Because Mark has tried every damn way to franchise to run it all. Hire Reggie McKenzie and later do the same. Hire the big name coach recruiting this Maycock. Hire the tended away to the Uber Summit section with McDaniels and whoever general manager was. Well, that was Dave Ziegler. He went to a place of coaching. Antonio Pearson's ever experienced general manager. There's no right or wrong to win the NFL. We just need to pick people who are up for their respective jobs and let get to work, but of course, with great mentality. Great mentality. That's what I'm thinking about it. Great mentality. It always happened to all of this. So make it happen. Yes, I know that we started improving on the grid until Goodell to a few bouts of the bird orientation for Snyder, but he made the wrong decision with John Madam Kids. John Madam Nuts, which is Mike Daniels, and later involved with the competitive team, but we have 6 ones. But I know that it's a messy situation. It's pretty much easy to hire someone once. They pursued Ben Johnson and he went to the Bears. At this point, there are not many good choices left. The big reason to keep Heath because It's the same led dysfunctional that we are, but he's gone after the season. And what quality coach is going to see it coming up there? They constantly fire head coaches on the 2 full years. There's no word to combat. If the people want to give it a time or give it opportunity to build a foundation at once and show out it's not like, well, not right now, but it's a problem that cannot be fixed in only 1 year. But it seems like it's not really happening a lot, which it doesn't. Yep, it doesn't a lot. But man, how is it going to really happen a lot? How does it going to really happen? We don't know. We don't know what's going to happen around for this time. Yep. All right, so I know this is going to be like a therapy session, but I apologize for the technical issues that we just got right now. So I gave it like a lot of opinion between for like Raiders versus Chargers, but I just wanted to tell you between for like this team is completely out of control, and I just wanted to keep it like, well, pretty much not too short to keep it on the mind because right now we need happen to success. We need something like a young-minded coach. That we need something brand new. I know they gotta ask for Brian DeBall, which is offensive coordinator, but I don't think it's gonna be like the perfect guy to see that the coaching. But as a matter of fact, we need something to get the ball bit. We get a lot of more discipline because I'm just getting tired that the Raiders are recycled coaches. Well, all new coaches, and then they're just like from the night and the evening doesn't work because what happens between for the season 2012, 2022 between Josh McDaniels and Dave Ziegler? Their experiment was really failed because Raiders are not the brand New England Patriots. They're not because they wanted to keep like very good between for the play calls and then for the visor, and they're just like blowing off of the way. That's not working at all. Not that really working at all. And between for like this one, between for the coaching team, never, never in the online was definitely not getting improved. I remember what they told it about Antonio Pierce and Tom Telesco. It seems like Antonio Pierce they like for anyone because oh he likes to smoke cigar or bump it down to the NWA with a low rider, yeah, with Impala, and then he had with a great mindset between for the locker room, but between for the first year as a coach, it doesn't seem very right. Nothing, nothing. We've been doing the same bullshit over and over and over again, and we're getting tired about this. We're getting tired of being between for the 2022, Josh McDaniels, 2023, Antonio Pierce, 2024, Antonio Pierce, 2025, Pete Carroll. If Rich Biscaccia was fired, was getting to the brand new coach and get it not to interim, because if, if Rich Biscaccia could be there as a head coach, and what if Derek Carr wasn't traded for another team? That could be really different. And I'm sick and tired of all of this fans to say after Derek Carr is gone, everything's going to be good for the quarterback. None of those quarterbacks, they have really success. None of them really success. And of course, had to, well, to apologize to Derek Carr because at least he show up his true colors. At least he show up. None of the Geno Smith could have happened, but man, that doesn't really happen a lot. That doesn't. That really doesn't. Really, but really doesn't. Oh man. All right. So between for the like Las Vegas Raiders versus Los Angeles Chargers, now we can do like talking about between, well, Lane Kiffin. Yep. Lane Kiffin, because right now he was a new coach of Louisiana State University after leaving Ole Miss with a playoff run. And let me tell you for this right now. This could be happening a lot. That's gonna be happen. That's gonna be happen. But if you're a fan of college football, because right now, if you see like between Lane Kiffin as a head coach for the Oakland Raiders between 2007, 2008, well, I understand that Al Davis basically trashed Lane Kiffin, but what did exactly? Because in our defense, the projector was way less humiliating for finding Kiffin than used to see living him on tarmac after a away game, and Kiffin was totally to get fired. He has Havas attempted the 7 yards versus San Diego the previous game. Yeah, San Diego Chargers. But I think one of the reasons for the big show that Davis wasn't paid the remainder of the contract, so he was making the case for firing him for cause because saying Lane Kiffin was negligent and deserved to be fired. All was right. All was right. And one of those crazy things that the plan is to draft Calvin Johnson. Everybody in the building went to sleep before to take Calvin and then call it Aldo Day with the draft. They just show up how old and Day was at the time. And he trashed Kiffin because Kiffin was a smug asshole who absolutely sucked shit at the NFL coach. And people never forget, people never forget when Kirby, well, Kirby, no, well, Nick Saban. Nick Saban was the coach, the Alabama Crimson Tide, between for these years. And then he yelled out to Lane Kiffin in national television. That was like, man, that's gonna be it. That's gonna be it. That's gonna be it. Because between for the situation and the overhead protector, I mean, didn't mean for a lot. I mean, Al Davis lost his fucking mind near the end. Because it's sad because he was the architect with the most successful teams. Then time slowly passed him by. But man, that was like a great memory to all of the Raider fans. But between from like Lane Kiffin to Louisiana State University, LSU is historically obviously the better option, but Ole Miss is exactly broken and can't succeed at the NLI war. If he can stay, he can be literally a god in Mississippi, but the pressure is much higher. The administration a kind of crap show, and the governor sounds like the people still need for the heads to assimilate to him. Whether under Mississippi or Louisiana, that's kind of lose-lose. But it's getting really point because most of these high-level coaches, especially a guy like Lane, don't think like lower people. They're wired differently. And they got really, really nuts. Really nuts. Because they haven't consistently outrun the record to the mid-80s, but it clearly seems like a good coach and gets to see that in school. But all it makes is to check both of the bosses that are done getting everything better. But Lane also had to recruit to Ole Miss, so he could do like LSU or money for significantly better. And LSU is one of the handful of schools with a national championship in the BS playoff era, and behind Alabama with 3 total championship, it's getting really rough. But they can rebuild or want to stay, but recruit. This sounds very well, but it's harder to build balls. Plans are going to go for the good coach and get paid, but Lane essentially built to Ole Miss. Now, every Lane sensation would have the good to clear the house around the law and assess for the fair market value and the fair amount that someone had to bring the power back to the bigger brands in this. Because technically, without the governor with his pretty essentially single to take over, but it seems like do we have any match of the contract that they offer? But I think the main history that the blue factor that ULCU was because he was a young team at Ole Miss that's going to the playoffs. Doesn't seem why he wants to live. Is there possible he can win like a national championship this year or win it in the next couple of years as the common roster matures? Now, if he wants to go, he might be like at a toxic match. Basically, he needs to build with a roster from scratch. Not to mention, we'll be like at all time in Ole Miss with a national championship coaches at LSU. But it was changing. Nobody just can't throw it up money out. Everyone's going to have a problem with Kiffin wanted to hear about it all they miss. So the leaves, they're going to tell his way to know. And he spent 5 years to take this team to the cup of the playoffs, only to take it around and leave it the most drama-filled way, that it takes it away, that accomplishment is so disgusting. But they're going to have it a drop of 20 or 80. But no team has won a national championship without a blue chip radio over 500. Well, 50 has been tracked. LSU and Florida have blue chip radios over 50%. It almost do. Ole Miss doesn't have it. It never was. Never was. I mean, look at Ole Miss. Has a rebuild to every team through the portal is such a boom or a bust strategy. And look at the Florida State University. Great with the worst with the King Brew, the recruiting, everything that they can throw out the portal. It's a better job, but it can really compete. They're not actually broke. They're not actually broke because the only difference, Louisiana is better stay recruits, but the NHL did a work connection that means really, really much. And that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, right now I'm getting out of here because I know that I have a lot of issues with the I know that I have a lot of issues with it, with the microphone, but the camera. But right now, I'm just feeling good right now. So everybody can listen, everybody can hear me. So it's about the point. So right now, I just wanted to tell you, thank you guys for joining at this episode of Straight Outta Nation. So probably we're getting back on Friday between for the preview of Las Vegas Raiders versus Denver Broncos. Probably make it. And I just wanted to tell you, thank you guys for joining. And of course, I will see you there tonight at the Combat Club. So right now, I just wanted to tell you, much love, everybody. And I apologize to everybody else because I know that I'm installing a brand new PC, but I'm just getting really good right now. So expect what I'm expected about for like the next few live streams with this right now. All right? So thank you very much. And I hope to see you there next time at the next episode of Straight Outta Nation. Bye-bye then.